Alright, so this is a modeling section, and I don't need any of this stuff, so I'm just going to delete all of it. And then I'm going to set up my reference image real quick. And that's a little big. Shrink that down. Kind of move it up. I like to use the grid as like a makeshift floor plane. Okay, so I think that'll work. Get that out of here. So just one caveat before I get into this. I use left mouse select, so if you're following along with the hotkeys, don't let that confuse you. And the reason I'm using this instead of the add-on is the add-on was flickering really bad for some reason. I didn't feel like messing with it, so I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, so let's just jump into this. So I'm going to start with a cylinder. And I'm going to make it 8 sides. And the reason I'm using 8 is because I have 4 of these little spike things down here. I'm thinking 4 on the front, 4 on the back. Usually when I'm doing cylinders, I find it's a good idea to stick to numbers divisible by 4 for the sides. So, you know, like 12 or 16 or something like that. It just makes them, I don't know what you'd call it, mirror modifier friendly, I guess, because you can split it in any way you want. So I'm just doing some extrudes to handle this pretty basic stuff. And on this bottom part, I'll do what's called poke, which is Alt P, and it'll just kind of make everything go to a center point, I guess. I'm just going to bevel this, and I think I'm going to do some loop cuts as well, just to kind of shape this a little bit more. Okay, and delete this top face. Okay, so that's pretty good. To do the crossguard, I'm just going to start with a plane, and I'm going to rotate it up. Going to move it up here, and then I'm going to cut it in half with a loop cut. And we'll delete this half. And the idea is, of course, to model half of it, and then I'll just mirror it across. It's pretty standard workflow for most people. So just kind of throw in some edge or loop cuts, and then you know, tweak the vertices. Try and get that shape decent. So that's working. Let's flip this thing. So if I were to mirror it right here, it would just kind of flip in place, which isn't what I want. Instead, I want to use the 3D cursor as kind of the pivot point. And so if you've accidentally moved that, the way to get that back in that spot is just Shift S, cursor to center. But once you have it like that, you can make your pivot point the 3D cursor. You can do it down here as well. And you want to duplicate it with Shift D, and then just cancel the move. It's still duplicated, it's just it didn't move anywhere. And then you hit Control M, and this is mirror mode, but it's asking for the axis down here in the bottom left. And in this case, the X is what you want. So confirm that, and then select both halves and remove doubles. And that'll merge it back in the middle. And it looks like I have some flip normals, which is normal when you do mirroring. But I'm going to extrude this out. I'm going to kind of roughly get it about there. Select all of it, and I'll hit Control N. That'll recalculate the normals. And then I'm going to get rid of these faces on the back as well. So let me switch my lens to 90. So there, that's looking pretty good. The back side, I'll be using a mirror modifier, so I'm not worried about that. Let's just keep going. So to do the blade, I'm going to basically do it the same way. I'm going to start with a plane. They're just a little bit easier to work with, I find. I don't always do it, but in this case, it makes sense to me, so. Alright. So I'm going to use this relatively new function that Blender has. In the vertex menu, you can see that there's this extend vertices. It uses Alt-D hotkey. And the way this works is you can select a vertex, and then wherever edge your mouse hovers over, if you hit Alt-D, it'll pull a vertex out towards that edge. So it's like a really quick way to be able to model shapes like this. Let's see, I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, one more, 5. Yeah, that should work. Now I need to do the center. I think I can just subdivide this. 1, 2, 3. Actually, let me just do 2. So this isn't going to show up very well on the little hotkey thing, but if you hit G twice, it'll go into an edge slide mode, or I guess vertex slide in this case. And then I'm just going to use Alt-D to get the rest of this shape. It's a pretty fast way to model, I think. So now I just need to connect these things. This confuses some people sometimes, and they'll hit F, and this doesn't actually split the face. It just makes an edge over that, so that's usually not what you want. Usually when people are doing that, what they actually want to do is hit J, and you can see that J will split it into 2 faces. So, just something I see pop up on the forums every now and then. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mirror this. And I'm still on the 3D cursor already, so I'm going to Shift D, cancel, Control M, X, confirm, and then remove doubles. And recalculate the normals, Control N. So I'm going to pull this shape out. And I will go ahead and fill it. Kind of fix this up a little bit. I'm going to pull this back in just to kind of give it a little bit more form. And I'm going to pull this out as well. Okay, that works. So I have a problem here with these little triangles here. They're perfectly vertical, and I want them to match this slope that I have going here. So there's a couple ways I could do that. I think I could probably get away with using a knife, but I know I can get away with using snapping, so I'm going to do that way. So the way this is going to work, I'm going to use vertex snapping, turn it on, and I'm going to change it to active. And the way it's going to work is I'm going to grab this, and you can see it's going to stick to the vertices. But I'm going to use what's kind of a hidden function, but you can hit A, and it'll mark them. And this is going to average between them. And so it's like a good way to get midpoints and stuff if you need to. And you can see in this case it averaged right in between them, which is what I wanted. So it's going to give me that slope. So now all I have to do is double tap G to go into edge slide mode, and then just kind of move it up and scale it back out. And if I go back into solid mode, you can see that now that's a perfect angle, which is what I wanted. So let's do the same thing on the bottom. A, and then slide it down, and I'm going to use snapping just to match it up here. And there we go. It works pretty well. I think I'm going to pull this out just a little bit further. Oh, I got snapping on still. Okay. Let's see. Let's do the mirror modifier, I guess. Mirror Y. So yeah, I'm happy with the blade. Not so happy with the crossguard though. And I'm not even sure on this terminology. I'm probably totally wrong. I don't know if knives and swords and all that, I don't know if they have different terms for things or not. So beveling that. I think I was messing with this on the drawing. I didn't wind up leaving it in there. I had a triangle at first and that was looking too Zelda-ish, but I think I'm going to try to put some kind of like an extrusion of some sort on here, just to kind of break this up, because it's so boring looking, I think. I'm going to turn on snapping again. Let's see. Pull those up a little bit maybe. And scale them on the X. Okay, that looks like it'll work. So I'm going to do, if you do inset, which is just the I key, you can hold control and actually extrude. It's really a cool function. And I can pull that out just a little bit more. Okay. Oops. So I think that works. I don't like how thick this is. I'm going to try and like maybe skinny this up a little bit. Let's use proportional edit maybe. And I'll just do these sides. And I want this to, let's say I need to go to 3D cursor. And let's just scale Y. Pull that in. Something like that maybe. Yeah, I like that. I think it's a lot better looking shape. So we'll go with that. Alright, now what? Let's connect everything. You can see that I just have these floating pieces, so this is actually really easy to do these days because of this new tool called intersect, I think. Yeah, it's in the faces menu, and you just do intersect, and it's kind of like a simplified Boolean modifier. Like if I hide the handle now, you can see that it cut this top piece off, and it also cut a hole in this other mesh. And so I can just delete both of those, and I'm left with the hole. And if I unhide the handle, you can see it matches up perfectly. So I can just select both and then remove doubles, and now it's connected. So it's really easy to do these days. I do need to split up these ingons though, so I'm just going to do J to fix those up. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the blade here. I'm going to connect it as well. So Control F, intersect, and then I don't need these two chunks, so I can just delete all those. And join these together, and then I'm going to snap this vertex over here, I think. So, wow, I still had vertex snapping on. Let's disable whatever this is, proportional editing, and I'm going to turn on auto merge, and then if I just grab that and stick it, it'll get rid of those extra vertices there. So there, that's sticking it all into one piece. Pretty easy to do, thanks to that intersect operator. let's add the spikes. I almost forgot about those. So to do them, I'm going to do them in a separate object. And I'm just going to make a cone, and I'll do it 6 sides. And I'm going to hit numpad slash, which is just going to go into local view. And it's basically just hiding everything else. So I want to snap this to the other object. And in order to do that, what I need to do is need to make sure that the origin point is basically at the bottom. The origin point is this little orange thing, not the 3D cursor. So to do that in this case, all I have to do is move it up exactly 1 unit and it'll match up. Oh, I can get rid of this bottom piece. Faces. So then if I select this 3D cursor, I can scale it down quite a bit. So in the drawing, you can see that these are kind of blunted spikes. I actually didn't draw them very well, but it took me like 2 minutes to draw that, so that's my excuse. So anyway, I'm going to blunt this as well. So if you select a vertex and you do Control-Shift-B rather than Control-B, it'll do a vertex bevel. And so I can just kind of move that down, and then I can poke it with Alt-P and just pull that back up. And so I get kind of like a little blunted spike. So now, if I go back to regular view mode, or hit numpad slash again, I can turn on face snapping, turn it to closest, and turn on rotation and snap to other objects. And now if I just hit the G key to grab it, you can see that it's sticking to the faces of this object, which is what I want. It looks like it rotated a little bit. Let's see if I can fix that. What is it, Y maybe? Looks like it. So there we go, zeroed that out. But this isn't centered, and so I'm going to use basically what I was using earlier with the vertex snapping. And I'm going to change it to active, turn off the rotation. I'm going to grab it, and then just when I get over the vertices, I'm going to hit A, and it'll just kind of average between them and put it right in the center of that polygon. So now I need to duplicate it. And to do that, I'm going to rotate around the 3D cursor, which if I do it on the Z, you can see works like that. Let me turn off snapping. So you can see that that would work pretty well. So now all I have to do is I have to duplicate it, and without hitting anything else, I need to hit R. And then I'm going to hit Z to constrain it on the Z. And it looks like, I'm looking in the bottom left, it looks like around 45. So if I just type in 45 and confirm, it saw all of that as one operator, which was duplicate, because everything in between duplicate and confirm just counts as a single command. So what this will allow me to do is run this repeat last command, or Shift R, and if I do that, it's just going to duplicate at 45 degrees every time I do it. And I can go all the way around this, but I only need to go 4 of them. I need to scale these, so I'm going to do individual origins and just scale them a little bit. Kind of get them the size that I want, and then shift select this one and hit Control J to join them all together, and you can see the mirror modifier now works. So that handles the spikes. Pretty easy. Let's set up smoothing. So if you go into edit mode, you get this shading and UVs panel, and you can make all your faces smooth. And obviously that's going to make it pretty ugly looking. So what you need to do is go into edge mode and mark some of these as sharp edges, which you can do right here. But if you just do it by just like I did, it kind of fails silently. Like if I go to object mode, you can see that it didn't do anything with the shading at all. And what you need to do to get it to actually work is you got to go over here and check this auto smooth. And I have a feeling that this is going to get a name change in the future. I think I read the developers say that, but for now it's called auto smooth. You can see that now that sharp edge is working. So now I just need to go through and mark all of them that I want sharp. So I'm going to go select sharp edges, and that's going to get quite a few of them. That'll give me a couple more. And then I'm just going to kind of clean this up a little bit, deselect the things that I don't want. I don't want any of this, do I? I don't want these. I do want these, as well as this. Let's just mark that and see where it is. Okay, that's looking pretty good to me. Yeah, that'll work. And I think that's it for the modeling section. So next part will be on UV unwrapping, everybody's favorite. So hope to see you there.